Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions, to this holy circle of infinite light. Celebrate light, the light in the mind that we are, the only thing shareable, infinite. And thank Jesus for bringing all the Jesuses together who can hear him. To encourage each other to shine the light that we are, this little light of mine, this little light of God's. It doesn't belong to anyone, but it is given by him. So I just shared on the Facebook Messenger group a beautiful audio Marguerite and I joined a couple of days ago. She was kind enough to share it. Very deep dive and beautiful looking at how the ego so carefully protects choice. So we don't look to see how much we really want that choice to prove death is real, to prove that God is dead. The desire not to even get anywhere near looking at choice. To see that there's no choice. The light doesn't make any choices. Is the light in there going, I need another choice? Jesus is bringing us so far beyond choice. See, the choice to deny, the choice, that little power play not to follow guidance. Because the ego makes guidance, something outside of us. We don't even know when we're following guidance. We've lost our way so deep. You can ask Jesus, do I actually know when I'm following guidance? Most cases, no. Most cases, we're running so far from light and looking so hard to prove that light's not here. We don't even know when we're following. We'll even think we're following. It'll masquerade. The ego masquerades very successfully as guidance because we want it to. Ask Jesus. Because we don't want guidance. It's just the guiding mechanism that's our natural voice. We don't want that because the play of consciousness, not we, consciousness plays to obscure divinity from itself. And why our brother is given for that seeing. And why Jesus is teaching us really so specifically on chapter 10, how to speak with him, or 20, well, all these chapters really, but chapter 20 is when he really does that deep drill down to see how much we don't want guidance. We don't, consciousness, no one personally, it's not personally. In the play of the no. And to see all the places and know. And really, before most of those are cleared, you'll be clueless about guidance because it's a desire to be clueless about what guidance is. We don't even know what we don't know. You can ask Jesus about it. That's why the joining is the quickening of that. Joining to see what's true. And as we're just sharing and experiencing by direct experience through these joinings, everyone can hear it. All as the mind opens up, you're going to hear what guidance is. And just know that all the tricks, see through all the tricks to avoid looking at chapter 20. They're playing out in all kinds of ways. because the ego is not going to want to look at chapter 20. It's going to avoid, it's going to delay, it's not going to, my partners, I don't like my partner, I don't like, we never seem to be able to get together. It'll play like that. The question is, are we going to follow that, or it's just a choice? Do we want to follow that or follow the gift of what he's given us to be able to hear his voice so clearly and specifically, to see that everything he's pointing to in a course is true? Because that's really what chapter 20 is. And it's really standing into it. Because as a number of you said, the way he's put this together with the instructions and putting in with the mighty, there's no sideways. You can't tilt, there's no play, there's no story, there's just, it's turning over the atonement completely to him. What next, Jesus? Where do I look? What beliefs do I have that I still need to see? What desires? Yeah, Heather had a beautiful joining with Heather and Elliot. So precious. And she was asking about what really is faith and trust. And it's always good to really go naked to faith and trust. Faith, what is that really? And Jesus says in a new covenant, the faithless are lost. Because faith is having more faith in what's true than the idea of a personal identity in the false. It's really a decision to invest in what's true rather than invest in what's false. We just posted a little post on trust. And was really helpful when Jesus was showing me how trust and faith, because there's only one. I always thought, well, I'm really trusting outside of I'm trusting something out there, until you see there's nothing out there. It can be helpful to trust your brother, quote unquote. It's a symbol of trusting who you are more than, because the ego doesn't know what trust is. It's an antitrust factory. It's the antitrust, like the Antichrist, but antitrust. So trust, it's beautiful in a little picture that Kelly did, and a reminder of that quote. Trust is like a little compass. It's always like pointing back to infinite. It doesn't, Jesus was showing, trust can't go out. Faith doesn't go out to another. It's can be a very helpful concept in consciousness. We trust in God, but it's the compass comes back and it points here. It's pointing due north. Points back to infinite. The responsibility, not the responsibility of the world, the responsibility of infinite being to choose for God, choose divinity over the play of no, the dream. And the world just covers that over. We have responsibility for children, families, working. That's all a cover over. You can ask Jesus, is that all a cover over not to look directly and see that the only responsibility is acceptance of divinity and ceasing to deny it? You can ask him, Jesus, is honesty of God the only responsibility? Is there any responsibility of this world more important than that responsibility of honesty of God? There just isn't one. So we were talking about guidance, and I thank Jesus again for this, not even knowing what guidance is, like going naked, because the whole conceptual idea of what guidance is, the ego plays like this. It's lost in a forest, Yosemite National Park, and it's going, no, thank you, to a compass. That's all guidance is. But then it's made into this concept, and no, and I'm going, I don't want to do what you're going to ask me to do. I saw it. I saw that play. You're going to make me do something I don't want to do. But it's not about doing anything. Remember, I need do nothing, but we're so used to doing and so much control through doing, we're going to fight doing. That's hilarious. It's just a fight for control. It's being faithless, actually. It's without faith. That's why he says trust would solve every problem. Remember, because trust is pointing back to infinite light of being. But Jesus understands that the whole cover over of the dream is untrust, the antitrust. Jesus, do I desire an experience of re-establishing trust with myself? That's humbling. But it's a helpful humbling. So we were looking at guidance. Let's see where he's going to take us. Thus, here you go, directly to this. You desire an experience of death rather than follow divine light. Jesus, do I desire an experience of death over divine light? That's the only choice there is when we talk about what choice is. It's either align with divinity, supreme happiness, or no. And it's been helpful to see, even though beings come to me, and I talked about it before, about even over the Christmas holidays, or that just tell me directly, I see this is so untrue, yet I really want it. But it's okay if you really admit how much you want it, and you admit it, like you want to release it, because then Jesus can help us and go, God, I want it like that. Oh my God, I want to revel in it. It was so great joining with Elaine. I want to revel in that. That's what he's getting us to. When you go, I really want to keep, see, there's no release in it. I want to stay in the play. And he tells me, is it helpful? Yes, for me, it's helpful. He'll show me examples of where it's in the play still. He says it's for you to know for discernment. It's not judgment of something, because there's judgment is death. Then I'd be choosing death if I judge. I don't judge it, but it's within the function here to see when it's in play and speak his words on it. It's being true to God, actually. True to myself. And then you don't get cow-tipped either by consciousness. Then you don't get tipped. And it also has been, you see the power of the clarity with which you can hear that voice. And that he will tell you everything you need to know, right when you need to know it. That's how he's training, at least for here, to know where the little kind of the sidewayses are. That's sideways, that's sideways, that's sideways. There it is. And that's a really big play. It's going to be a sideways, just anything not to look at chapter 25. That direct. I mean, it's all showing up. It shows up. That's why it's really good to stay with your partner and really look deeply if you think you're being called to something else other than this deep looking. We'll celebrate it because we'll all hear it. See, we'll all hear it. If you're called to something else, we'll hear it. We'll know. Just like we were in that joining, and Kelly, we can hear who can speak, and we just hear it because when the mind becomes so clear, more and more clear, then that voice can really come through, and Jesus can then use the expression for God's purposes. And God's purposes is to call his son home and, and support each other from no sideways. Because sometimes we can't even see it where we're going sideways. It takes a lot of talking to Jesus, actually. He says, yeah, a lot of talking to him to see where sideways is. And the willingness to follow when he tells you something. Really just be true to that guidance. Because we talked about it here too. You can't, in other spirit, and Muji says it too, you can't see it till you've transcended it. You can't see until you've really looked with him to see where that play is, what's still in play on the ego. It's really takes a lot attentiveness. It just really, that's what he says. It just takes attentiveness, and then being with the mighties who are so clear. The upside down belief that following this light is death. Jesus, is there any upside belief that following light is death? If you ask me, you will indeed discover that you do believe that following the Holy Spirit is some form of death. It's very worthwhile. He says, yes, spend time with the mighty, just looking at any kind of death idea of following guidance. It makes a lot easier, everything, really. And now I just spent so much time with him, really talking to him and showing the places where I didn't want to follow guidance. Because you start to see there's only light, and if you're not following that, then you're saying no to it. And there will be suffering. Thus, you desire an experience of death rather than follow the divine light. Jesus, is there a desire for death? Anything left? Look. I'm willing to see any of it. Because you know that's not following who you really are. If you did not believe it, thus you desire an experience of death rather than follow divine light, your true nature. If you did not believe it, you would follow the Holy Spirit all the time. I've been checking in with him, make sure I'm following all the time, because sometimes I don't even know where I'm following. I could see that. He's teaching me that. I check in with him. How am I doing? Because he even told Ellen that, he would, I forgot what he said. What'd you say to you? Like retroactively correct. He said that was helpful. He's using the ability to learn in consciousness, to actually learn where we're saying no to ourselves and have him show it. Look, right here was guidance. This was guidance. That wasn't guidance, to fine tune the tuning fork to God. And then it just gets more and more natural. Like your whole flow is that. It's just part of the expression, because all that, the no's are kind of washed out. It's the only way. He's everything. Is a symbol of being everything. If you did not believe it, you would follow the Holy Spirit all the time, because you would be honoring the truth that following is the only means to happiness, true happiness. You can ask him, Jesus, am I avoiding my own true happiness? See, that's the function that the ego does. It creates all these characters and then puts labels on them to make it seem like there's someone out there that can prevent happiness from already being here. Blame and projection, and you did this, and there's just no happiness. We can see that. We can look with them. Hearing and following this voice is natural. Jesus, are there any desires below my level of awareness to have God's voice not be natural? And then as we practice speaking, hearing it and speaking it and following it, see, the following is really, it is good to be able to hear it and speak it, and it will make the following easier, because it becomes more natural. It's always natural to us, but we're so unused to it. It seems, and the ego wants to make it unnatural to speak the voice. Hearing and following this voice is natural. It is only an idea that it's not. Jesus, will you help me see any ideas that it's not natural? It's almost like a surprise when it comes out, because we're so not used to speaking that voice. That's why he's telling. I can hear him too. Go back and look at those videos that you're taking. Hopefully you're videoing some of your sessions together. That'll help get over otherness too, because that's a big play in consciousness. Certainly was here, like if there was a camera, you behave differently or something. It's very interesting little play, or nervous, or however, in consciousness. But then it's also just to go back and hear how clear you are with them, because the ego is going to move in quickly. And we were talking about that a bit today, how it's like the like an iris of an eye. It gets bigger and lets the light through, or on a camera, you got that little, like, yeah, the part of, obscures the lens. Okay. So it comes in, the light moves through it, and then it gets smaller and more open. Like, I guess I show my hands like this, and it kind of opens up and it closes. So we start to have that opening. Oh, this is so happy, man. I just had that joining. This is so good to see. Okay. Because it's really being reflected out now. Okay. So man, I just feel so open. I had a joining. But then I go and I meet with the next person, and I just, I get in a fight with them. It's because we want to deny that love so badly. It's not about the next person. It's the shark starts moving immediately to find a problem to deny what was just seen. It's like, I'm asking Jesus, I can almost predict if someone's going off the rail, that they saw something, they opened to love. It's like Jesus saying yes. Aperture. God bless it. Oh, that's right. She's got a little camera. Sort of like that aperture, but oh yeah, you can open and close the aperture, right? That's the word. Okay. So you could just, you can start to predict it in yourself too and see, oh, that's right, man. I just had this wonderful opening. And you hear it in satsang. Oh my gosh, it was just, see that see how the ego got hold of it already. I was so happy. See, it already, no, I am happiness. And I just had a desired experience to shut that baby down. It's really helpful what Muji's pointing to. You are light. You're light first, and then the play of consciousness to shut the seeming aperture, to shut the light out. To pretend like, what happened to that? I desired experience. This is the desire. To pretend like it can shut out the light. But what's hilarious is that's all occurring in the light because the light's out here. So you can try and shut it down like you want, but it's still like the fish swimming in the ocean going, have you seen any water lately? So just know for a while, that's the play. It opens a little. Oh, the love. It's going to be like that. Oh my gosh, there's so much love. Now, why the hell did they leave that spoon in the kitchen sink? It's going to go like that. Okay, it's oh my gosh, it's just so much love. It's so much love. It's so much love. Oh, and then it like, and you feel like you cast because there's a desired experience. Like it's not complete yet. It gets a little bit more. Oh no, see? And it's water everywhere. All right. I've been swimming in water the whole time looking for water because it's all love. So just don't choose to shut it. Is that a choice? Ask Jesus. That's what we're protecting. We're protecting the right to squeeze out. Now, and this is the humor. The humor is I can't find the light, and you're swimming in the light because the light doesn't go anywhere. It's just consciousness focusing down on the shark. It plays shark. Ask Jesus. It's a good analogy. It likes playing hunt. Donna. Just start playing that music. You won't take it so seriously. Donna. I'm hunting. I'm hunting to give something meaning it does not have. Today's project is to hunt down something that does not have the meaning that I think it has. That's my project for today. That's what consciousness little projects going. I see. Now, let me see if I can find it's in slow. It's fast. It happens so fast. We don't see the slow mo. Let's do it in slow mo. Jesus so at least it's funny. The slow motion. Because it seems so fast. Because we like it to be fast to pretend it's out of our control. I like to play like it's out of our control. But you can ask Jesus, he'll slow the whole thing. Show me the whole thing step by step. What's happening here? What's happening here is the I want hell. That's what that. And I don't want to admit I want hell. You start laughing. People say, oh, you laugh so much because I see how right Jesus is. You can laugh all. you just sit in those joining sessions and just start laughing. You see, it's so impossible. But how much you want it too, and you laugh really hard. It's like, oh Jesus. Hearing and following this voice is natural. It's the only idea that it's not. Infinite light, thought comes up, idea, a little concept crystallizes. I'm not God. That proves I'm not God. That's how it works. And it loves the brother. That's a favorite hunting mechanism. It loves that brother boy. I'm going to find somebody, some way to deny love coming. It was such a great scene. He's reminding about this in the lake house. It's a lovely movie, really, about. But so they're writing each other letters, and they're in different time zones. Not time zones, different. Well, I don't know what it. Yeah, different. I will say different years, different time dimensions. They're like separated by a number of years. She's like 2004 and he's whatever, 2008. However, and somehow they're separated by time, which the ego loves to play time separation. So it's a very cool movie for that, and how love finds its way. It's timeless. There's a great scene in there. So they're separated by time. And he goes to a party where she's at. And he knows that's her, but he doesn't reveal who he is yet, because she hasn't met him yet on the timeline. Sounds complicated. But the beautiful thing is, it's such a great symbol of being he's so in love with her. And she's sitting there on the porch at the same time going, talking about how you can never find, don't know about love. It was just complaining. We don't see it that way, but it's kind of like, she's kind of like woe begone sitting on that porch. And here's love in symbol form sitting right next to her, and it's so true. We're surrounded by love and we're going, yeah, because it's all miscreation in mind. And there's the glory of God sitting right next to us, the beauty, and just going, God, this just sucks. It's all miscreation. It's a great scene. It's a really great scene. And of course, in the other part of it, I'm just, spoiler alert. So she doesn't know anything about him, right? But somehow they end up that night coming closer to closer together. And she says, would you like to dance? And so they're dancing, and then he kisses her. Of course, he can't resist, right? And he leans in for the kiss, and of course, her boyfriend shows up. It's such a great, it's such a symbol of how love finds its way together, and then we find an excuse to say no. Can't have it. There's a reason why it can't be here right now. That's beautiful. Remember that all objections that arise in the mind to not follow the Holy Spirit are coming from the allegiance to a sense of personal identity. And I'm just asking, we don't even know where those are, do we, Jesus? This is why we have got to be 100% attentive to him. Not 2%, not 99.9%. It can only be 100%. Because he has to tell us why we're not following, and because we like tricking ourselves, and he isn't tricked. Or we need really vigilant, mighty companions with us too, as symbols in our mind of Jesus going, let's just look closer. The desire to experience a will separate from God. It is the desire to experience separation which is self-imposed. Yeah, because we like the play. Consciousness, not we. Consciousness likes the play of the juicy bits of saying no to God. It likes gambling, where you never win. The ego always wins. In other words, you have more odds of going to Las Vegas and winning a jackpot, that kind of gambling, than you do gambling with the ego's plan, because the ego has one endpoint. At least if you win at Las Vegas, get a little cash, the ego's going to kill you. It's 100% death plan. It is not a friend. Every time I hear that, I'm going to be friends with the ego. No. Ask Jesus. If Jesus tells you yes, be friends with the ego, go ahead. But I haven't heard him say it yet. No, friend. It is not your friend. You cannot befriend it. When you hold on to a sense of personal identity, it is withholding the experience of love from yourself. It is the holding on and denying yourself love, which expresses in your experience as pain. The Holy Spirit does not cause pain. Your divine nature does not know what pain is. This is such a play in consciousness that Jesus is going to cause pain. It's good to look at that one too. I'm looking right now. I'll look 100 times a day, whatever it takes. Okay, Jesus. Is there any I'm just checking in, seeing, okay. Is there any belief or any remnant that following Jesus, following the Holy Spirit causes pain? I'm willing to see it. Because after a while, you just know that all pain is being caused by a desire to experience it. That it has of greater value than happiness. Pain is a desired experience to experience pain and deny divinity. So it, it's really simple. Not following the Holy Spirit is a choice for pain. And don't underestimate. He's saying, do not underestimate how much you want death as experience. And you can ask him that too. Jesus, I end up underestimating how much death is desired as experience. Until he shows it to you, you will underestimate it. Yes. He says, until he really shows you how much there is a desire below the level of awareness for experience of death. How much it's wanted. You probably won't give it up either. It's very humbling, but it's a happy humbling. He said it's necessary, actually, if you truly want to fully transcend the world. Transcend the idea, the concept of a world apart from infinite love for supreme happiness. I'm just asking because I always ask him, is there a shortcut? He says, just say yes to me as a shortcut, but he knows what I mean in terms of their way to get around looking at it all. No. So we look. Not that I can find maybe someone else. No, I trust him. He tells me he's straight skinny. By joining with me to look at beliefs and desires, you'll see how simply and easily desire and thus pain can be dispelled. And this will strengthen your willingness to hear and follow my voice, your inner voice for truth. So that's why the willingness is always first to look, because we've been so unwilling. And the confidence builds. And that's accepting divine power, that chapter 20. You'll see it, you'll feel it. With each desire, you just feel that power come in. You might forget it a bit, but you'll know who to go to. And that foundation of being able to talk to him just strengthens like a pillar of iron, a powerful pillar of stapled to divinity, inseparable from the one who knows. This will strengthen your willingness to hear and follow my voice, your inner voice for truth. This is acceptance of divine power. Every yes to ourselves, every yes to guidance. Like we're saying, balls, we can call it balls to the wall. Jesus says we can use that. It's reminding me, about compromise. What no compromise means. When we really see what we're compromising, we have to really see that. Yes, he's saying you have to, because you don't know, it's so obscured by a world, by the miscreation. It's so obscured. It's like, Jesus, I've been looking a long time. Where's this happiness? That's how obscured it is, and so out of reach that we really have to stay full on with him, looking and looking and looking. He's saying yes. So that those ideas can be washed away with his help. I'm just asking them, are there any beliefs in there about that? No, that's the skinny. I'm checking in, make sure it's clean, crisp, and comes right from his mouth to all of us. So that recording's really helpful. He's saying, if you feel this to listen to it, we'll listen to it here again. And we send love to you from San Juan Kosala. Beloved mighty companions, thank you for jumping on this rocket with us. Keep your seatbelts on. Here we go. Straight up.